I'm, you know, doing my phone thing, got to put on Do Not Disturb. And I look and it's like, oh yeah, I got like 2 minutes left. The next thing you know, I look and it says now everybody's waiting for me. And it's not even quite 7 o'clock yet. Okay. So I guess they wanted to start me early. Okay. And then I just saw that it came up on my screen. So a little bit after I actually went live. So yeah, I had gotten everything done and I got everything set up. And when I glanced over, I noticed that Froggy had left a comment. So I figured, oh, well, I'll respond even though I wasn't about ready to go live yet. Um, so, hey, Froggy. Hey, Becky. Happy early birthday to Becky. Tomorrow is her birthday. You should have gotten your card from me because I did mail that out, I think, was it Saturday? I think. And it didn't have far to go. And hey, Tracy and Sharon, and there's Terry, and Yvonne's on her way here. And so, a heads up, I'll mention this at the end as well. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock, I think that's the agreed upon time now. Um, Andrea will be, my guest stamper will be here tomorrow, and we're looking to go live at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And she's going to do the Sunrise Sailing Bundle. Or I guess originally she was here last Saturday and she was working on her projects, and I think the third one that she was doing, there was just something about it. She just wasn't feeling it with that one. And so, yeah, I think she said that she was going to do 2 cards. So that will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. If anything changes time wise, whatever it may be, I will post a comment. You haven't gotten it yet? You're the next state over. You know, I will have to say this, and I have pictures that I will show you. I did do that banner. I got that done. Um, yeah, I got the banner done for for my granddaughter's graduation, and the box. Let's just say, well, see, her birthday was on Thursday, the 26th, and so the box is filled with a bunch of Stitch stuff because she loves Stitch as well. And so the box was filled with a bunch of Stitch stuff. And originally they said that UPS said that they would get it on Thursday, the 26th, which is when her actual birthday is. And I sent it out. I dropped it off Sunday late in the day, and it went out Monday. And actually, they got it the day before on the 25th. So I'm really stoked that she got it on time. If I just would have sent it regular, I did do it like a 3 day. It cost a little bit, but not as much as if it would have been, like next day or 2 day. And yeah, if I would have done it regular shipping, then it would have been Saturday when she got it, and it would have been a little too late. So I do have pictures of what I took from the banner. Pictures are not going to do it justice of what it looked like in person. But yeah, it went together a lot quicker than I thought it would. And I also have a graduation card picture for you to show you, and then even the birthday card that I threw in that box too. I have now you see me wiping my face because I have a fan over here. Let me know if that fan is making any noise into the video, because if it is, then I'll turn it in another direction or I'll turn it off. Let's see. I know, and you know, and that's the thing. I was, when it came to shipping that stuff out to them, you know, going from here all the way to Oregon, I'm like, I am not sending that box through the regular postal service because forget it. Who knows when they would get it? They'd probably lose it or destroy it or something. So yeah, UPS, you did good. You did good. Um, did I say hi to you, Carol? I started reading off a whole bunch of names earlier. Okay. So, I think what I'm going to do, I mean, there really hasn't been much of anything. I just thought of something. Um, is it this? Let me see. Not a whole lot has been going on. Last week, I did do my paper pumpkin kit, the one that's full of charm. That, what's the name of the, I don't have it here. There's a suite where it coordinates with that is gonna be in, this fan's probably gonna drive me crazy because it's like blowing and blowing my hair into my face, and I don't know if I want that. It, I can't remember the name of it, but there's a suite that it coordinates with that will be available for customers in July, and I am planning on using that next month. I didn't put together what I'm doing for July yet. However, I'm pretty sure that most of those new suites that I did get are going to be the ones that I use for July. Now, um, next Friday, I am going to work with fancy borders. Now, next Friday, here in the US, it's 4th of July, and it's going to be noisy, but I want to go live because I also got, like, you know, I showed you last Friday that I got a cute little 4th of July thing that I can wear. Um, I just have to hold my tongue that I don't say something like I normally do during 4th of July. Um, but yeah, I saw a really, really cute card that was done by Dawn Olszewski, where she used this and she made a flag. And I thought that was really, really cool. So this is what I'm going to go with next Friday. And then, like those other Fridays, I think, I started writing stuff down. There's either 5 Thursdays or there's 5 Fridays. I think it's Thursdays. So I have to plan out what I'm going to be using next month. But that's going to be coming out soon because the first Tuesday of the month just happens to be on the 1st. So yeah, so I have to plan what it is that I'm going to do. And then yeah, I know that's fireworks. Yeah, the fireworks are a little ridiculous, to be honest with you. And really, it should be left to the professionals to be doing that, not people who are either stoned or drunk or whatever messing with fireworks. Just saying. Um, can my throwbacks be Christmas in July? What is flying around me? Um, well, let's see. I do have that Christmas one. That's going to be on the 1st. I I can probably throw in another Christmas in July type one, maybe in the middle of the month. because I am doing one on the 1st. So we'll see. There's also a lot of like stamp sets and bundles that just recently went on the last chance list. So I was thinking of maybe like using some of those. One of them that is going away is Resourceful Rusty, which I kind of like that one. So I may throw that one in for a Thursday. Um, let's see, what else? Um, but yeah, I have to plan out what's going to be for next month. So next week is going to be newsletter and Throwback Thursday and Friday and what is it, the monthly Christmas card inspiration. So there's a lot of stuff I got to get done. So I think this weekend I need to focus on getting a lot of this stuff done. So so again, can you guys hear the fan that I have right over here? If you don't hear the fan, then that's good, because I'll be fine like right now, but then as I get into stuff, all of a sudden I'll get hot. But if it's causing a noise in the phone, you know, through the speaker and all that, then yeah, I don't want that. I want everything to, you know, I want the lighting good, I want the sound good. So, oh, and the internet good. That should be, okay. Yeah, so my internet should be really good because, yeah, you know, I ended up reaching out to Xfinity to ask them why I was, you know, the plan that I got, um, it has Peacock included with it, and why I was also paying $7.99 for it. And so when I called them, the next thing you know, I went from, let's see, I went from the gigabyte to gigabyte 2, and the price that I was given, which is a little bit less than what I've been paying these past few months with the extra Peacock, because I've been with Xfinity for quite a few years, at pretty much ever since I moved. Well, in 2014, yeah, they offered me a five year plan on that at that guaranteed price. 5 years. And what gets me, why doesn't Xfinity just go and put the prices down lower instead of having them high? And then they're basically say, oh yeah, we'll do this for you. We'll do this. We'll put it at this price. It's like they'll give you a lower price than what it originally is. Why don't you just do that up front? Instead of like, because, you know, just all the issues you've been having, let's do this for you. And I'm like, okay, I don't get it. All right, so I'm just checking here as far as things to talk about. There's not a whole lot. Like I said, when I did my paper pumpkin video last week, there's a lot of stuff about paper pumpkin that's coming up that I talked about. Let's see. Oh, this stuff needs to go back up here. But I think there's really nothing else. All of my, you know, stitch. Okay, so I am going to flip this right now, and we're going to get started, and hopefully we can be done in less than 2 hours, because 2 hours really is a long time, because I don't have dinner before I do this, so I'm basically eating dinner a lot later than I need to be. And so we're going to get started. The projects, um, they're not too bad. They shouldn't, there's no reason that any of these should take really long, especially when I've already, you know, die cut and stuff like that. And there's a gnat flying around. Why is it when I go live, they gotta be flying around in my camera view? Thank you, Becky. Thank you for the sharing. Yeah. Yeah, because it was going to turn out that was, I think, November 22nd of this year. Yeah, it would have been me calling them. Because what had happened, what was it, like 2 years ago? I had reached out because, all those discounts that I had were gonna kind of go away. And so here they went to offer me, um, like this 800 speed, whatever package that's called or whatever. Um, but then because I couldn't, I had them, send me the new box, and I was just getting the internet. I wasn't getting any cable because, I was paying a good amount at one point, and I really wasn't watching a lot of of those channels. So I opted to just get the internet. That's it, the 800. But it turned out when I got the box, I can easily, plug that thing in. I don't need a tech to come out and install it. So I did everything that I had to do. It still didn't connect. And, I talked to a tech, like hours later. And next thing you know, they bumped it up from 800 to 1,000. So then at some point in between, Xfinity had raised it up to like 1,100, paying the same amount. And now paying less, and I got like 2,100. So now I got even a faster speed. So everything should be good as far as streaming goes. And this is the only thing that I have going. I don't have any other computer other than my laptop sitting here, and there's no other phone. So, and of course, TV's not on. So everything should be really good. Okay, so really quick, some of the things that are still happening. This buy one get one 50% off on all the sweets and the sweet products. This is going to be ending on Monday the 30th. Now I took a quick um, glance at what's in the inventory status, and there are a lot of things like the whole suite. I don't know if there's any, well, yeah, there still are a couple of full suites that are available. Um, well, that stinks, Froggy. I'm sure that it's probably frustrating when you try to do things and you get that spinning that goes on and on and on, and yeah, I'd be really frustrated. Um, but I definitely wouldn't want AT&T. Now, when I lived in Ohio, I did have the Uverse that out there. Everything was fine with that. But I'll tell you what, when I moved down here and I was in the house, I always stuck with Xfinity. I'll tell you what, I had seen AT&T trucks on my street for other people that have them almost every day or every other day, and I'm like, nope, I'm glad that I just stuck. I didn't get it with what I had. Yeah, thing flew by me. I tried to kill it and I evidently missed. But anyway, so there are some individual items. There may be a couple of bundles. There are some dies, sets of dies in these suites that are on back order. And of course, these things aren't going to be back in time. Look at things that are in the last chance, because if there was something that was part of a suite, like that black and very vanilla large check ribbon, that's still part of this sale. And again, if there's any questions about it at all, my email's below. Just feel free to reach out. They still have these virtual album retreat kits. They're still available. Now, This is going to happen on July 16th, 17th, and 18th, and it'll go from 2 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Mountain Time. The registration for this event is basically purchasing the kit, which here in the US it's $250. For that, you're going to get all the pre-cut cardstock and designer series paper to create a total of like 24 24 pages. So you got 2 pages for each month. So everything comes in it. You're going to have page protectors. I think there's flip flops in there. I did see a picture where if you ever seen the stamp sets that come in a paper pumpkin kit, they have 4 different stamp sets that are used in here. They have an alphabet set in there and a few other things. You're basically, I think you're pretty much getting everything except for the album itself. So the album, you would need to purchase that. But yeah, for this kit, you're pretty much getting everything else. And again, I'm not a scrapbooker. I mean, I could easily do it, no problem. I just don't do it, so this is not something that I am going to be participating in. Now, also, this is going, when you purchase this, you'll also get an email that'll have a link to the Facebook page in which they'll be holding this. And hopefully they'll, the 3 days, I'm guessing I don't know if this is going to be actual, okay, it's a live event. After it's over, you'd be able to go back and watch it. But I'm hoping that they're going to realize that they're going to put this like on YouTube for them, because I think, what was it, after 30 days on Facebook's going to remove any of the videos. So if they want to keep it, they're going to have to do something by getting it off of Facebook. And then there's the last chance products, which there's always more stuff being put out there every 2 months. So there could be things that were that were brought out in the online exclusives, really maybe earlier in the year, that could end up being on there. So there's every 2 months more stuff's going to be added, and then there's also things that were already out there that they end up discounting more if there was a discount, or if there wasn't, maybe they do add a discount. Okay, Froggy, do you get the inks? I don't think I saw that you get the ink. I don't think you get the ink. I think what they do is when you purchase it and they send you the email, they're going to send you an email with all the stuff that you're going to need in addition. And when I took a look at it, I don't think there was ink included. Don't think there was. And let me see. Where's my mouse? Come on, mouse. Let me see if I can bring it up really, really quick. Okay, so what are they saying on here? Okay, so I'm looking at this. You're going to get like 12 individual, um, so those Ziploc bags, the big, like probably 13 by 13 Ziploc bags. So each 2-page spread is going to be in its own. And again, it's all pre-cut cardstock and designer series paper. It looks like there is some punch outs and maybe stickers. There's the page protectors. Um, there are embellishments, which are those matte dots, the black, what was in there? White, black, uh, what is it, basic beige and pecan pie. I used that with that texture suite a couple of weeks ago. And I see flip flaps, and I see 4 individual photopolymer stamp sets that have multiple images on it. And then there's your picture placeholders. Yeah, I'm not seeing any ink on here. Um, let's see. There is an additional supply list that is on the website. So if you go to the website, um, and you click on that image for it, it tells you when it is and everything, and then it says like the additional supplies. They do give you a list of all the ink colors, blending brushes, adhesives, what other tools you would need, and other additional items. But yeah, the ink isn't included on that. Okay, so I'm going to show you some images. These are pictures that I took from that banner that I made. So this is at the end of the banner. So this sticker right here, I actually have an extra one. So this, I purchased this in Hobby Lobby. No, I did not make it. Their gowns and their caps were red, so I thought this would be a nice touch, you know, to add to it. And then the tassel, I did look at a picture, and their tassels were red, white, and black. So I actually bought some DMC embroidery floss, and I made my own tassel, and then I took that 2025 silver charm. I attached it to that. So these are on either end of of that banner. And then I did a smaller banner that had the year, and each one has this cap charm on the end of it. And you can see that the cardstock that I use, this definitely is not Stampin' Up cardstock. I bought this in Hobby Lobby, and I mean, I got blue too, because it has like these streaks in it. So I did buy blue because I like the blue, and I thought, well, maybe 4th of July crafting, I can do something. So there's black, and then the red is a really pretty red. So this is what I used on her banner. And let's see. And then this is how it came out. It's pretty big. I mean, my table, I extended one of the leaves on the one end, and it literally goes from one end to the other. Now, with this this party alphabet dies. There's only letters, there's no numbers. And I still had the large numbers from a few years ago that I used that for the 2025. And then there's the card that I made. I used that same shimmer cardstock on these strips and on the 2025. Now this die here, this is that birthday suite that's still available. So that's where that 2025 came from. And then on this set, this is is it cap and gown? I think this stamp set is still in the online exclusives. I had used a stamp positioning tool, and I stamped it in real red, and then I went over it and stamped it with Versamark and used some clear embossing powder, so there's a nice shine to it. And then of course I ended up fussy cutting that out. It wasn't too bad. And then since her birthday again was like on Thursday, this is the card that I made her using that birthday suite. This is actually a card that is in the mini catalog. It's one of the sample cards. And so these elements here, the leaves and the flowers and the balloon, that is, there's like 2 sheets in that the designer series paper pack, that these are just punched out. So really neat, sweet. I think that's going to be one that may be used in July, because again, I'm late to the party on getting these things. So yeah, it's still available. So that could be one of the Fridays as well. Um, Tracy, that's the best way. That's the best way to get it. Save up those points. Yeah, I did have quite a few points from when I took advantage of that sweet sale. So, yeah, and when I did when I did the first order, yeah, I did have quite a bit of points that I can use. Okay, so I'm gonna move that out of the way. We'll move that out of the way. I'm gonna take a sip of water. And now I'm going to show you what it is that we are going to be using. So I'm using the beautiful Bokeh uh, suite of products. I'm just making sure I got everything. So there's the beautiful butterflies photopolymer stamp set. And then this is a hybrid um, bundle. So you have the beautiful butterflies hybrid embossing folder along with the beautiful butterflies set of dies. This is these go on back order like a lot, but everything is still available. The only thing that's on low inventory are the embellishments, the itty bitty Bokeh mix, which I'll show that to you. They've been on low inventory for a while, but they're still available. And then this is the beautiful Bokeh designer series paper. So the colors in here are Balmy Blueberry Burst, Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, and Fresh Freesia. So there's the paper. And then the embellishments to this. I love these embellishments. Um, they're so much prettier in person. So this is the itty bitty bouquet mix, and you have like some iridescent flat sequins, some other ones that have like this little decorative edge to them, and then you also have some of these frosted dots in here. So yeah, I think I'm using like all of the different ones that are in here on my projects. This is something definitely, you gotta make sure this stays closed because we do not want these getting everywhere. I'll put those over there. And let's see. You know what I do need to do, guys? I need to go and get, I'll be right back. I need to go get some water really, really quick. I realized that one of the cards, the technique that I'm doing, I needed a little bit, well, the first card actually, oops, that I'm doing, I need some water. Okay, so let me put this aside where it's kind of like out of the way and I don't spill it. All right, so let me bring in everything that I need for the first card. Okay, that. All right, so why do I got a little piece out? All right, let me move things because I got things all over the place. All right, so for my card base, so all of my card bases are going to be the same. They're all basic white thick, measuring 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. Then I have a piece of that was a beautiful Bokeh designer series paper This measures 5.5 by 4.25. So we're using the designer series paper. We're going to cover the whole card front with that. In the past, I usually would be like, no, 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 it's too pretty, and then it's going to go away and retire. And yeah, so I'm using the designer series paper because Lord knows I have a lot of it. And then out of basic white, I cut 3 of these. Each one of these measures 3.5 by 1.5. Okay, so I'm going to fold and burnish my card base. And then I'm going to bring in my liquid glue to adhere my designer series paper. Let me see which way I want to put this. Okay. And then I'm going to cover the whole piece, and hopefully I can get this all lined up before this dries. Because I use that fine tip glue bottle, it doesn't take much, and this will dry fairly quickly. Guess who's here? Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my little mini paper trimmer here, and I'm going to trim this excess paper off of this. I purposefully had cut the paper just a hair larger, just so that way I knew that my piece would completely cover. Yeah, Vaughn just showed up and then she just walked back out the door because evidently she needed to make more than one trip. Hopefully it's just 2 trips. She doesn't need to make 3. Okay, so there is our card. See, our card just looks pretty just like that, right? So we'll set that aside. And I'm going to bring in my 3 pieces. Now this is a photopolymer stamp set, so I'm going to bring in, okay, I'm watching the screen. Okay, that's only because my hand was moving over it. Yeah, oh, by the way, Terry, hopefully your box is going to be going out this weekend. And this suite is in there for you. A little late for your as your birthday gift, but I'm just extending this the birthday celebration, right? So that's gonna go out, and plus Yvonne's got a few things that are gonna go in the box too. So that's one of the reasons why it hasn't gone out yet. But yeah, you'll have everything. The only thing that that won't be in the box is the embellishments, only because the embellishments were already taken care of before. So yeah, so that's the one part that you have from the suite. Okay, so on these 3 pieces, first let's close up this glue so it doesn't get clogged. I am going to bring in, let's see, my stamp set, and I want this smaller butterfly here. Hello, Deborah. You got both of us going at the same time. Okay, let me get that out. And then there's a greeting in here that says, "In case you need me, I'm here." I'll pull that out too. And those are the only stamps I need for that. And then I am going to stamp. I'm going to use my Calypso Coral and the Memento Tuxedo Black. And we'll pull those out. Okay, so let me think here for a second. I may want to do this part first. I think I'm going to do this part first. Only because if I do it last, well, no, we'll do it. I'm thinking, and it's like, okay, I could probably still get away with doing it the way I want to do it, because when you got water involved, and we got, you know, water-based ink here, and what else? I'm using watercolor pencils to color this in. Oh, what's awesome news? Oh, wait. I gotta back this up. Hold on. I gotta no. I gotta back up a minute. Hello and great news. My MRI came back with no cancer showing. I got to ring the bell. That is amazing, Deborah. I don't have a bell. I'd be ringing a bell for you. Oh, wait a minute. I got something. Hold on. It's not the same. But you remember my little Christmas ornament? Yay, that's awesome, Deborah. Awesome. Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you, Deborah. I would be the same way. Yep, it's a bell, right? It's the closest thing I had. I'm sure that I have a whole bunch of bells somewhere around this space, because Lord knows I got enough crafting stuff. One of the things that I want to really get back into, and I started a little bit like a few months ago, or was it last year? I used to always do the counted cross stitch. I mean, that was actually what I started doing, and I'm starting to like get all the floss. There are like almost 500 colors, and yeah, so I had every color at one point, and now it's like I've bought them. Now I have to put them on their plastic bobbins and all that. So yeah, I've been working on that a little bit as well. Um, oh, that's awesome, Deborah. That's really awesome. Okay, so the butterfly, I'm going to ink that up with Calypso Coral, and I'm going to stamp one over on the left side like so, and another one, let's see, over here. The Calypso Coral ink is behaving itself. It's inked just perfectly. And then we'll stamp another one right here. Okay, close that up. Now, the watercolor pencils that I am using, the colors I'm using, are Calypso Coral, Fresh Freesia, and Daffodil Delight. All three of these are part of the, what is it, the watercolor pencil assortment 1. Let's see. All right, so let me take these off of here. Actually, no, yeah. Let's move this out of the way, because we'll use it again when I go to stamp the greeting, but I want to color my butterflies first. So this is going to take a little bit, because there's 3 of them. I'm going to start with my Calypso Coral. And so our butterflies are going to look more stained glass when I'm done. And let's see. I got my little sample sitting over here. to see what areas I did color. And what I should have done, well, no, because I should be stamping, you know, there's a, when I used those stamp sets that have the red rubber stamps in them, usually I'll pre-stamp that stuff because usually I'm die cutting something out, and to kind of save time, I do that in advance. Now, let's see, the third project that I'll be doing, I'll be bringing in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I figure that on that one I would, yeah, well, you'll see. Well, if you saw the thumbnail, and the PDF is saved out there, by the way, out there on the Google Drive. So that little paragraph, that verbiage that's right above the list of supplies in the description, if you click on that link, all of the PDFs from my Friday night lives are out there. And it goes all the way back to January 26th of last year. So this one's already out there. And then in the title where it says Friday Night Live and the date, if you click on that, it's going to take you, it'll bring you back to this video. Okay. So two of these cards are actually card samples that they had in the January to April mini catalog. I changed it up just a little bit. In the sample, they basically used, I think, just the Calypso Coral and Daffodil Delight on the butterflies. And I looked at the designer series paper. I kind of see like all three colors in that, so I opted to go this route with these three colors. Just making sure that I got everything. And I'm not going too hard on this because another thing that I'm going to be bringing in is the blender pens. Now my blender pens, I've had these for a while because how long ago was it that we had packaging where it was, it looked like that? I think what I did, I think I found it on, probably on YouTube, where somebody had refilled these, and I know that glycerin was one of the things that I think it was, I don't know if it was just glycerin, but yeah, I had actually added whatever that recipe is. I think I have it, maybe it was on Pinterest, and it should, if I have it, if I know I would have saved it, it would be in that album that I have that says tutorials. But yeah, I refilled them, so I'm still able to use them. Now at some point I'll probably will order another set, but these are still working fine. And that solution that I put in there, it's also been working fine with no problem. It does what it's supposed to do. Okay, so I've done all of the Calypso Coral. All right, and then I'll bring in Fresh Freesia. Let me see. I needed it to. Is it the first card? Yes, it is, Yvonne. First card. Someone add me to the list. Okay. Okay. All right, let's do our fresh freesia. I'm still, I gotta make sure that I'm in the camera right and not way up there or too low. Let's see. Yeah, there's two different watercolor pencil assortments in the annual catalog, and this is again, these three colors are in the first assortment. Every once in a while I do have to change things up instead of always, when it came to doing this, I thought, okay, in the sample from the catalog, they used watercolor pencils, and thinking, did they use a blender? Yeah, they may. I think they did use a blender pen. Now the thing is with blender pens, when you're using regular cardstock, you don't want to use it too much because then it'll pill your cardstock. So let me see. There, there. Okay. I gotta find some different types of techniques to use in my videos just to kind of change things up a little bit. And down here. All right, so we'll set that aside. Very X itinerary, Carol. Yeah, you're typing, Yvonne. Oh, yes, that's awesome, Carol. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, that C word is very nasty. I've lost quite a few family members to it. Let's see. I mean, this is the most tedious part of this whole card is, I mean, if you were just coloring one, I mean, that wouldn't be so bad, but when you're doing three, but it's a cute card in the end. Like I said, I changed it up a little bit. In Stampin' Up sample of this, they did not have any fresh freesia in the butterflies. And I decided instead of just those two colors, I was going to add this third. Again, I just look at the designer series paper and figured, okay, we're going to use all three colors. Well, a few months ago, I wouldn't have been able to do all this coloring. My hand wouldn't have been able to tolerate it. I mean, it's slowly getting better. Okay. All right. Okay, so now the rest of these openings on here are going to be Daffodil Delight. Now, Daffodil Delight, I don't have to go hard at all with this one because this pencil is pretty intense. And again, I'll be using that blender pen, so it'll fill. If I miss any spots, it'll fill it in. Andrea's here. Our guest stamper for tomorrow. It's still 6, Andrea? Okay. So 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, everyone. And again, you know, we know life happens and all that, so if anything should change at all, I'll post something out here on YouTube to let you know. But other than that, 6 p.m. And then I think, so at some point tomorrow, I think that's when I'll have the graphic, what do you call it, the video thumbnail. I'll have that done. So after I do this live, I'll schedule tomorrow. I know that, I don't know if it's changed or not, but I know that I wasn't able to schedule more than one live because it wasn't working for some reason. I don't know if it's changed, but after I do this live, I'll schedule that one. Okay. So there are butterflies. I think that color combination is kind of pretty. All right. Now I'm going to bring in the blender pen. Now before I go and add my greeting onto this, I am going, that's where I'm going to do my spritzing, where I'm going to use a little bit of water with the ink, and I'd rather do it beforehand, so then that way I don't end up smearing that black ink. Okay, so my blender pen. So I'm going to start off just quickly going over all of the Calypso Coral. Did I get all those spots? And then this one. right, and then to clean it, just scribble it on a piece of scratch paper until it runs clear. And then we'll do the fresh freesia. And again, you don't want to do too much with the blender pen, because with the regular basic white cardstock, it will cause it to start to pill on you. Oh yeah, Carol, that the wedding's tomorrow. Well, it'll be here available as a replay. Okay, so we'll clean this off, and then we'll come in and we'll do Daffodil Delight. Okay, so that's how they come on. You can see how much bolder that Daffodil Delight is. And this gnat can get out of here. You know, this gnat that's flying around, I did not see it at all day long. It's not until I get ready to do this live that it decides it wants to make an appearance. I will tell you that earlier today I'm glad that I was home and then I wasn't, you know, at work, because when I was doing my laundry and I was folding it, I was in my bedroom, and there was a hornet that got into the apartment, and I have no clue how it's getting in, considering I know it didn't come in through the door, and none of my windows are open either. But yeah, it was near the window. Well, it stayed like pretty much by the window, and there was a time or two where it kind of flew out of the window and into the room, and I'm like, okay, you need to go back because you need to die. And I got the spray, killed it, and then I had a mess to clean up. But yeah, for some reason they're finding a way in here. I don't know, are they in between the ceiling and the floor upstairs? Are they getting through the vents? I know that they've gotten into the light and vent in the one bathroom. But they can't get through that because there's no openings for them. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like that they're getting in here. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in some of my scratch paper here, because this next step, it'll be a little bit messy. It shouldn't be too bad. Not like when I use the markers. Now my sample, if you see it in the thumbnail and on that PDF, the sample, I actually had used the dark Calypso Coral and the dark Fresh Freesia blends on it. But it's so fine that you really don't see it. So I'm going to bring in, these are the water painters that Stampin' Up! Had. These, their manufacturer, I don't know if they went out of business or whatever, or they weren't making them anymore. And so Stampin' Up! Had discontinued those. They will have them again at some point. We don't know when that's going to be though. All right, so I'm squeezing these ink pads. I want both that Fresh Freesia and the Calypso Coral. And if you have problems doing that, like you don't have the hand strength to do that, you can also take your re-inker and you can add some in the tray or even on an acrylic block, and you can do it that way. All right, so for this, I have some water here. Why are we setting off fireworks? Yeah. Remember, you are live on YouTube. Don't say some inappropriate things. And then let's add some to the Fresh Freesia. Okay. So now, with this, I don't want to have a whole lot of water. So I'm going to remove that excess water off of the brush. And let's see, we're going to have to move some things out of the way here because I don't want to get... And I'm just going to lightly tap. Okay, we'll clean that up. And I'll wipe this out. Some people, if they use their lid, you know, for doing watercoloring, sometimes they don't clean it out. To me, it's like I wouldn't want that, you know, getting onto my ink pad because then it'll dilute like in certain areas, and plus the OCD in me would want that clean. All right, so now let me bring in my Fresh Freesia and kind of clean off my brush to get that Calypso Coral off of it. Okay, and we'll do the same thing with this. Okay. There we go. Let me take this and now move that out of the way so we don't spill it. Now we do need to let that dry, but what I'm going to do, close that up. I want to bring in like a clean paper towel. And I'm going to do that just to get whatever's wet on there soaked up. Okay. And let's get this stuff out of the way. All right. Now let's see, it's going to be this one that I stamp on. This one's going to be... I just don't want any of that black ink to end up running when I stamp this down. Okay. Ink up my greeting. And we're going to place this right here. So we are stamping a little bit over the butterfly itself. So there is our center part of our card. Close this up. Get that out of the way. All right. Remove that. Let's bring in our card base. Now for this, these two are going to be our top and bottom, and we're going to have these butt up right along the right edge of the card, and then this will be in the center. For these two pieces, I'm going to bring in my seal. And then that middle piece is going to be popped up. Okay. So I'm going to come in and go about here, lining it up along that edge. Like it's crooked just a little bit. Okay, and then this one will go in the middle. Down a little bit, try to get it even. And then this one will be popped up. So Yvonne, I told Terry that we have a box for her, and I told her that we were going to get it out to her this weekend. So I guess that would be what, tomorrow? There's a possibility of Terry, that it could be going UPS, because on Pirate Ship, they don't, for some reason, FedEx isn't on there. All right, so now for our embellishments, we're going to go with this itty bitty bokeh mix. And I'm going to put some in my lid. And we're going to go with these iridescent ones that have, is that focus? That has like this little design around the edge of it. So let me bring in my Take Your Pick tool. And we'll take that off. We'll take that off and get our glue. Let's see, we're going to add one down here. We'll start with that. Okay, so let's grab these. Now these sequins do have the holes in them, so they're not flat. So want to be mindful when you're putting down your sequins that how much glue that you got. And I know that I do have a little bit more glue on here than I would typically use. But I'll tell you what, these embellishments are so pretty. Love them. Okay, and then let's go over here, right there, and over here. A few more. We want a smaller one. that one over here. And I got sequins stuck to my fingers. And let's get to grab this one. All right, and then we got one more panel to do. All right, so let's get a smaller one. Non-stick. See one that looks pink. I don't know if that one is or not, but we're gonna go for it. And then let's see. And then we got one more. Let's see, go this way. Okay, so there is. Whew, there's our first card. Hopefully these other ones won't go as long. Whoops. So one thing with these things will get everywhere. Close that up. Okay, so there is the first card. So I didn't add any Wink Stella on top of these butterflies because I didn't want to, I didn't want to smear it anymore. So there's the first card. Yeah, postage going up, which you know what that means. Well, let's see how much it comes to. Oh. And I don't know how that all works because, you go, I've seen it on Facebook when I've scrolled through and, you see like, oh yeah, get discount postage stamps and all that. And there was something said that it was like a scam, but I don't know what the deal is with the stamps because, I mean, I just order mine right directly off of the postal website. All right, so the second card. I got a feeling I know who wants this card. I'm just saying. Ain't gonna mention any names. But this one is pretty interesting, actually. This one is not one that was a sample that was in the catalog. This is one that I had found on Pinterest. And so I want to give some kudos to, um, oh my gosh, I just lost her name. Uh, oh my gosh. Jackie Bullhouse. Yeah, so this is kind of uh, a takeoff of her card. So again, the card base is the same, 8.5 by 5.5, basic white thick, scored at 4.25. I have a piece of basic black that measures 5.25 by 4. Another piece of that beautiful Bokeh Designer Series paper. This measures 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Out of basic white, I had die cut this butterfly. Now let me show you the die on this one. So this one you can use on a card front, or you can do a card that's shaped like a butterfly. So on this die, it's this one right here. Get it off. Okay, so on this die, what I did was this piece of basic white cardstock, I cut this at 5 by 7, and then I had scored it at 3.5. So your 7 scored it at 3.5. Then on this die, you see that there's these little like lines on either end here. Well, you can see them on either end here. So when you line it up on your cardstock, you want to line up these little lines here on that top edge. So then that way when you go to cut this out, you're going to cut like in here, but you're not going to cut on these ends. This is what's going to keep your card as one whole piece. So that's pretty cool. Now I gotta remember how I put that in there. Let me set that aside. Okay, so we have that out of basic white. Out of another piece of basic white, there is a die that, the other one. So you have this detailed one here, and then you have this. Now the detailed one, I did die series paper using just the detail. So the detail one alone will cut it out. You don't need this outline one to get it to cut out. So that cuts out on its own. So I did it in along with the embossing folder. So I will show you that how to do that in the next card, because that part I purposefully left that and didn't do that part yet. So this one's just the embossing folder and that outline die cut here. And then this, the designer series paper, is just this more detailed one. Then with this large label die out of basic black, I had stamped the happy birthday. That's one of the greetings in the stamp set. I stamped that in Versamark ink and then heat embossed it with white embossing powder. And then out of basic black, I also die cut the large butterfly body. Okay, so let's fold and burnish this. Okay, so fold that. And then we're going to attach our designer series paper. Now with this, so I'm using this pattern that will go, it'll mat on the black and then go on the front like so. The butterfly itself was die cut out of the same paper, but I have this side facing up on that. Okay, so let me get my glue. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. We got two of Terry's boyfriends on this one card. Black and blue. Okay, so then we're going to take this and adhere this to our card base. Okay, so let's set that aside. And then on this little individual butterfly card right here, we're going to stamp a greeting for the inside of this, and we're going to go with Time to Celebrate. And I'm going to do that in the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. It does, doesn't it? Maybe we should just say blue and black instead of black and blue. All right, let me get my block. Open that. And we'll ink that up. And move that out of the way so I don't put my hand in it. And then we'll stamp this right here. So you can write a little bit in these spots if you wanted to, or you have the actual inside of the full card, you can do that. You can do your writing in. Okay. So let's let that dry a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to glue this down to our card base. And the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to take this top edge here and I'm going to line it up to the top of that designer series paper. Not all the way up like that or on the black, but on the designer series paper itself. So add my glue. Whoa, where you going? And some glue. Get on that piece. Okay. Okay. And then I'll line it up. And it's pretty easy to center it from the left and the right side. Get that glue goober out of there. And we're going to build on top of this butterfly. Let's see, a little bit of glue got. Actually, let me get a little glue eraser here. Okay, so there is that part. And then gonna take this embossed butterfly and I'm going to take a little bit of glue and I'm just going to put it on the body part. I'm not going to put this on the wings. And then I'm going to line this up like so. And stick that down. Oh, hey Dawn. Okay, and then I'm going to get my tweezers and I'm going to add a little bit of glue on to the body part of the butterfly. And then we're going to line this up. You can kind of see that embossed area of the antenna. So that kind of helps in lining everything up. Okay, so there is that part of our butterfly. And then we're going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. And let's grab 2 more. Okay, and then we will center this on here like so. Okay, now let's put that aside. Now we're going to do this part is going to be a little, a little crazy, but we need to add something, right? So as far as like metallic ribbon, twine, that kind of stuff, really the only thing we got is this gold and silver 1/8 inch trim combo pack. Now I do have, if you remember a few years ago, they did have that the like the silver thread, the gold thread, and at one point they actually had what is it, like rose gold. So I have that. I could have used that, but you can't get it. So what I'm doing on this piece, I'm going to trim off. If you see the back, it looks like you have like an edging on either side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully and not try to cut my finger. I am going to trim off that one edge so that I can pull out these some of these silver threads. These are going to go across the butterfly and underneath that happy birthday greeting. So we're bringing out the bling on this card. Of course, you're not really crafting unless you make a mess too. So we're doing that too. So let me move this out of the way. And then we're going to pull out some of these strands. Okay, so we got these. If this ribbon was a little bit wider, we definitely would get plenty of. Trying not to pull so hard to where I end up breaking it. I want to have some, longer strands. Okay. See if I can get one more. Okay. Trying to see what I can get out of this. If I can get quite a few, that would be great. Ooh, so here's the edging pieces. Okay, so I got those. Let me get rid of all of these little itty bitty bits. And of course you get to the silicone craft mat that I got on here and it sticks to that. Okay, so then I'm going to take my seal and I'm going to add some right into the middle of the body right there. And then I'm going to take my strands and just place it in that adhesive. Go. Almost there. Okay, so we got some bling on there. One of these trying to come off. Okay. And then we're going to take our mini dimensionals and I'm going to add one on either side of this butterfly right here. Okay, and then add a little bit of seal in the middle of that. Take off our backings. Bring our out of control threads here. And then we'll take our greeting. I got one out of control thread here that wants to keep curling up. And then we'll place this right over the top like so. So there's that part, but we're not done with the bling on this. We're going to bring in our bitty things again. This time I'm going to use these flat round ones that are in here. You know, like this one that's, okay, glue. So we're going to add a few of these. So we want some of these little ones. So we're going to sprinkle these now. Some of the glue is oozing out a little bit, but this will dry clear. And some of these are stuck together. One here. Lots of little sprinklies. Some fool is out there setting off fireworks. So I'm going to pray for lots of rain on 4th of July. I know that sounds mean, but you know what? I don't particularly want things to catch on fire. I think we are supposed to be getting some rain during the week, but the problem is it's been so hot that it's going to dry up so quickly, and I'm worried about all the dry stuff is what, firework lands on something dry. Okay, we're almost there. Two more little ones. Is that just one? Yeah. All right. So there is, and move that out of the way. There is the second card. So you got your little surprise under that butterfly, and then on the inside you can put another greeting in there as well. So there is our second card. Oh, I was gonna say, was everybody hearing that? Or I can understand if Yvonne's hearing it because, she's in the other room. But I don't know if anybody else. Yeah, Becky, that's the type of temperatures that we've been having here too. Yeah, there was like yesterday when I was driving from work, yeah, while I'm on the highway, there were some lightning bolts coming down and dark skies, and yeah, I had decided that I was going to stop at Hobby Lobby before I came home, and I will tell you, where it looked like it was going to be really bad, it turned out that um when I got there, it wasn't raining, and I got home and it wasn't raining, but I think it did rain a little bit after I got back here, so that's good. Um, okay. I mean, I'm all good. I'm all for a good thunderstorm. I just don't like when you're talking about tornadoes and then, of course, it happens at nighttime. That's where it gets a little bit scary. All right, our final card. So this one I did do a step ahead of time, again, because it's to save some time. So let me bring in all of my pieces. And again, we have the same card base of basic white thick right there. Then I have a piece of that designer series paper. This one, again, this is going to be the full size of the card base. So this is 5.5 by 4.25. Then a piece of basic white. This measures 5.25 by 4, and I have embossed it using the embossing folder. Out of a scrap of basic black, I did another one of the large butterfly bodies. And then I have a piece of basic white. This was die cut out of the More Messages die. So this is part of that bundle. I told you guys I was going to use this a lot. So ahead of time, I had die cut a bunch of labels that have nothing on them, and they work perfectly for when you're using photopolymer stamps, because you can see exactly where you're stamping. And so on this one, I'm going to use the For You stamp on it, and we're going to stamp that on that little label. So I'll pull that out. And then let's see. Then from that same designer series paper, this strip is, I think, half of an inch wide. So we're gonna, after I stamp that, we're gonna layer that on there, and then I'm gonna come in and I'm just gonna trim the end of it. Okay, and then this is our Fluid 100 watercolor paper. To do this technique, you definitely need watercolor paper and not, you know, your regular basic white or white cardstock. I will say that we do have access to um, a recipe for all the projects that you see in the catalogs. And I was kind of surprised for this one. It said basic white cardstock, but it didn't say any watercolor paper. But yet, in the description, it was saying it was you were doing a watercolor wash as the technique. Um, so on this piece measures 5 by 4.5. And what I did with this piece, I used the reinkers of both Balmy Blue and Fresh Freesia. I had wet down my watercolor paper, and then I just brushed on some, well, I started from the top. I did some Balmy Blue up here and then some Fresh Freesia down here. I let it dry. I did use my heat tool on it because the color was running like along the edges, but I definitely wanted to have both these colors kind of blend a little bit here in the middle. We are going to, you see this butterfly here? We're going to emboss and cut at the same time. That part is what I'm going to do with you. I didn't do that ahead of time. And I think that is all of our pieces. So let me put my stamp on there. All right, I'm going to fold and burnish this card base, and then I'll add that designer series paper onto it. What? Oh, yeah, Deborah. Right. Oof. Yeah, that would be like me driving around down here with no AC. No, 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 no. I mean, yeah, you can open the window. However, it's still hot. Okay, so let's add this to our card base. Line it all up. And again, it is a little tiny bit larger. Pull that down just a little bit. Okay, so then let me bring in the little guillotine trimmer here, and we will trim down that excess. Again, it's only because I had trimmed that paper just a little bit more, just so that way I knew that it was going to fit on that whole card base. Hey, Stacy. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to take my embossed piece and my dimensionals, and I'm going to add some to the back of this. Let's see, where else did I put them on? Because I don't want this to be all saggy, so. Okay. Oh, come off. Okay, and then I'm going to add this to my card base, and I'm going to do this at an angle, so I'm not going to put it on there straight. I hear them out in the breezeway again. Okay, so there is that. Let me take my little greeting piece here and my Fresh Freesia ink, and we'll stamp this, and this fits perfectly into this. Okay, we'll set that aside, close that up. All right, we'll get that out of the way. And then for my greeting piece, I'm going to add a little bit of seal on the back of this. And again, I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet since I got adhesive on that. And I'm going to line this up like so. I do want to see some of that designer series paper. So I'm going to go up a little bit like so. And then let me bring in my snips. And I'm going to follow that edge and just snip like so. Okay, we'll set that aside. Now let me show you what I did with that watercolor paper and this butterfly. So this is one of the cool things that you can do with the hybrid embossing folders. You can't do this with all of them, so unless it says hybrid, only do this with the hybrids. All right, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And then when you use these embossing folders, you want the sandwich that you would use for the 3D. So it is your #1 base plate and then your #4 dark gray plate. So let me get the embossing folder. Okay, so on the embossing folder you have the Stampin' Up logo on the one side. So we're going to open this up, and this outline butterfly die, you're going to find when you put this in, it's going to kind of lock into place. So when you kind of move it, you're going to see it kind of locks into place. And then I'm going to take my watercolor paper. Now I want my balmy blue towards the top, and I want that Fresh Freesia on the bottom. So I'm going to take this and kind of, I do want to have more of the blue up on top. Okay, so that's where I want to have it placed in here. I'm going to close it up. I'm going to put it down, the spine going into the machine first. And then I'm going to run this through. And what this is going to do, it's going to emboss and die cut this piece all at the same time. And I apologize, all the shaking. And the end result is our butterfly. So cool. All right, so now let's get this all out of the way. All right, now on this piece, I'm going to add some Wink Stella. So I actually brought in a new one. So let me open this up. Yeah, this isn't the same packaging as like what we sell. I think this was back at the time when Stampin' Up, I guess it's not, it wasn't just Stampin' Up. It was, oh, and if you didn't know this, when you have your when you get your Wink of Stella, it's going to come like this where you got this black ring in it, around it. What you want to do is you want to undo that and remove that ring. If you don't remove that ring, then your Wink of Stella is not going to work. Okay, screw that back on. Now, I like to do this in the lid because you do not want a puddle. You can see that it's starting to come through the barrel. You don't want, whoops, see, it dripped in there. Get some on my brush. And of course it's really running out now. I mean, we want some sparkle, but we don't want crazy sparkle. So I'm gonna brush some on my butterfly. Okay, now I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with this because I do not want Wink of Stella all over the place. So we got some sparkly on there. Then I'm going to take the body of my butterfly, add a little bit of glue, and just a little tiny drop on these antennae. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually line the antenna up first. That's what's nice about that being embossed. And then let's stick that down like so. And then let's get our dimensionals. And what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to end up curling a little bit the top part of the butterfly wings. So I'm going to add dimensionals in the middle here, and then one on either side like so. Okay, remove these. And then this will get lined up on that embossed one that's on our card front. So I'm going to bring that in, and you can see our butterfly, it's the same butterfly. And I'm going to stick this down, just looking at where it's lined up. Stick that down like so, and then we'll curl up our top wings like so. And then on my greeting piece, I'm going to add some adhesive to the left hand side of this, and then I want a dimensional, and I'm going to put it on this other end over here, because this part is going to be on the card base and this is lifted up, so we want it to be kind of straight like so. Okay, and then we're going to add some of our embellishments. Now for this one, there are these little like flat backed dots. Is that what I want to call it? They're a little bit there's a little bit of iridescence in them, and so I want 3 large ones and 3 small ones. And these things get everywhere because they are very staticky. Let me use what is that? It's a small one. I need one more large one. I think that's a large one right there. I think. No, that's small. There's another large one. Okay. Let me move those out of the way. Bring in my glue. And let's see, we'll add one there. Okay, we're going to add one of the large ones over here. And another large one here. No, you're not supposed to come up. No, 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 no. Get down. I want it to stick to my finger. I'll put a small one right here. All right, and then we'll come up here. Okay, let's add our last three here. Our large one here. And then these two. Will go right up here. Okay, no, you need to stay. Stay. It doesn't want to stay. It wants to stick to my finger instead. Okay. There we go. So there is our watercolored version of our butterfly. I really like this one's got all that purple in it, but it also has the blue as well. So let me bring in now all of my cards. So this was our first one. We used our watercolor pencils and then used a blender pen. We added some splatters, and of course we got our really cool little iridescent embellishments from that itty bitty bouquet mix. Our second card is our really fun blue and black one. So we have our one die that does the butterfly cutout where you can make this as a card all by itself. We have that layered on top of our designer series paper and a layer of black cardstock. And then this is our gold and silver 1/8 inch ribbon that we kind of just separated so we can have some of that shimmer on here, and then more of those embellishments. And then here is our third card where ahead of time I had watercolored a piece of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. Again, doing this technique, watercoloring, you have to use watercolor paper. Don't do it on regular white cardstock because it won't be able to withstand, you know, the water. But here's our third card, all the fresh freesia and balmy blue. So I'm going to put these like right here. Terry, yep. And I am going to just tidy up this space a little bit so that way I can bring my laptop in. If you haven't already done so, pinned up at the top of the chat box, there is a link to a Google spreadsheet where you can add your name to be in a drawing for one of the 3 cards that I have made tonight. If you have any problems at all adding your name, just say something in the chat box and somebody would be more than happy to add your name for you. Let's see, I'm just trying to pick up some of this stuff here, especially all these little embellishments that are very staticky and they can get everywhere. I think I got all of them. Let me take a quick peek here as to who we have on our spreadsheet. Okay, so there's Froggy, Becky, Tracy, Terry, Sharon, Deborah, Yvonne, and Stacy. Is there anybody else? Is Carol still with us? Would Carol like to be added? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Froggy, okay, Terry. You can have card 2. I want card 3. So there was a fight over number 2, huh? Oh. Is Carol still with us, or did Carol, did she leave? Let me see here. Okay. So there's Froggy, Becky, Tracy, Terry, Sharon, Deborah, Yvonne, and Stacy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Froggy. Yeah, because I think she's in the Eastern time zone. Okie dokie. So, oh man, there's another embellishment. Here I thought I had them all. All right. So let me move these aside, because that glue is still a little bit wet with these embellishments, so I don't want to end up, knocking them off. All right, so looks like we got everybody, so let me, nope, I don't, yeah, I want that. And we'll take these names, put it on the wheel of names. Wait a minute, now hold on a second, I highlighted everybody. Okay, now let me bring in the laptop and let's move these lights out of the way, because we know what happens when I do this. And let me just scooch these up a little bit. And all you know what order these are all in. One was the one with the watercolor pencils. The second one is the blue one. And then the third is that watercolored butterfly. Okie dokie. So we got everybody. Let me just take a quick peek. Oh, she's not part of Eastern? Okay. All right, so I think we got everybody, and my light's still in the way. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's give this a spin. Deborah. Here's my mouse. Which card would you like, Deborah? Number 1. Try to pull this out without knocking things off of it. Okay. So now it's 2 and 3. Uh-oh. Okay, I don't even have to ask. I don't even have to ask. We know which one she wants. We know which one she wants. Yep. Yep. Number 2. I don't even have to ask. I already know. Already know. Okay, our last card. Our watercolor one. Froggy. Okie dokie, guys. There she is. Okay, let me kind of move these and let me get my laptop out of the way, and let's wrap everything up here. We've been going for what, 2 hours and 12 minutes. I thought it would have gone a little bit longer because of, all of the detailed stuff that we were doing and on these cards. So thank you everyone for joining me tonight. And if you like the video, please give the video a thumbs up. And I think everybody here is already subscribed, but if you are watching the replay or maybe you are here with us live, you just didn't say anything in the chat box. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and hit the little notification bell. It'll let you know when I post a video or when I go live. I do have to work on the schedule for the month of July as far as all the products that I'm going to use for my videos. So that will be coming out on Tuesday the 1st. If you would like to receive the newsletter, that I have all that on there, plus things that Stampin' Up's doing, what I'm doing, and all that other wonderful stuff. I do have a monthly newsletter. I typically send it out near the beginning of the month. And then I will, I only send another one if there's something that happens, like, midway into the month that Stampin' Up has surprised us with. So that's the only other time that I would send out another one. So if you would like to receive that, the link for it is in the description. When you click on that link, a little box will pop up. You just add your first, your last name, and your email address, and then I will send it out to you when I go to send it out. Again, we just have a few short days left of that sweet sale that ends on Monday the 30th. And be sure to, if you can, if you can't make it live, when we do this, you can definitely watch the replay tomorrow, Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be back here live again, and this time I'm going to have another guest stamper, Andrea Wordlaw, she's part of the Blue City Stampers family. So it's her turn, and she's going to be doing the sunrise sailing bundle. That's another one that has one of these hybrid embossing folders. So she's going to be demonstrating that tomorrow night. So hope you can join us for that. And let's see, I think that's everything. Now, 4th of July, again, I was debating whether I would go live or not, only because I know they're going to get crazy with the fireworks here. And so I will be here, and hopefully it won't be too bad back here. Um, and I will mention, so the PDF for all of the projects, so I have like dimensions and if I stamped what color inks I used and all that. This PDF, again, it also has the link to this video right here in the date. And this is already out there on the Google Drive. Just click to access it. Just click on the link. It's that last little paragraph right above the list of supplies, and it'll take you to this, and you can download it and print it out if you would like. Um, and I think that's all I have. So everybody, wherever you're living, if you're living in areas where it's really, really hot, stay cool, the best that you can. You know, if you have to be outside, be in the shade. You know, don't be out too long. And of course, when we get these hot temperatures, there's also the risk of some severe weather as well. So be safe if if it happens to hit the area that you're in. And let's see, anything else? I think that's everything. So everybody, hopefully, maybe I'll see you tomorrow night. And if not, I will see you next Friday. So until then, everybody, have a blessed one. Bye bye. Oh, and by the way, Becky, happy early birthday. Becky's birthday is tomorrow. So I will see you guys later. Bye bye.